Oh yeah, I can breathe now.
Hey,
But,
that's a good plus.
yeah, I actually got like 7 hours of sleep, which is
Yeah.
3 times the amount I've gotten all week.
Right.
Well, and I was on call this past week too, so
Ah.
that sucked.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
you know what the benefit is that I have not had at any of my IT jobs? You're in a call rotation.
yeah,
Usually, the call rotation for my jobs is this guy with the thumbs every
yeah,
week.
I don't have to be on call again until August.
Great.
Yeah, because in September I've got like the whole month off,
Wow.
and then it just picks right back up.
Fucking lucky. Okay. I think we're live, everyone.
Well, we are live on Mixer. I'm hanging out with my Mixer-creants
That's right.
over here.
All the mixed screens. Hold on, we just got an email from Jimbo Jangles, so I'm gonna put that in. Send an email. Boop 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 doo.
Oh, I wanted my post-it notes, which are all the way on the other side of the room.
Okay.
Post-it notes. Post-it notes. I don't want to stand up.
The power of Christ compels you.
Your chair has wheels, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm also on like 3 different layers of carpet.
Well, and I
So,
feel
like-
like if you start wheeling a chair like that around, the first thing you're gonna run over is your headphone wire.
Yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
going to unplug, and then Audition's going to freak out and be like, the audio settings have changed!
Oh my god!
That's why I have an extender on my headphones.
Ah. So you
Yeah,
can wrap around the wheels twice. Oh man. How's everyone going? We told some good stories in the pre-show for all you patrons. Patreon.com/E1M1, the ones are numbers. $5 is the best tier.
We recorded ODNF this weekend.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun episode for people to listen to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that one.
It's going to be real fun.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Yeah. But thank you, patrons, for everyone, actually, for choosing the right film.
Yes, the right film. And there's my expression.
There you go. Moon Sense of Heart.
Yes. Because I can interfere with Boston's stream whether he wants me to or not.
Son of a bitch. Thanks, Skype.
Yes, thank you, Skype.
Ah, damn it. I really wish Discord would have worked for us. I really wish. It sounded good. It looked good. The calls kept dropping.
Yep. The latency wasn't great.
No. Everything else was great.
You know why? It's because Discord is a tiny little indie startup company and Skype is run by our mega overlords who sponsor us every week.
That's right.
Microsoft.
That video Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by our fantastic and faithful sponsors, Microsoft.
Yep.
They're handsome too.
Along with the community over at patreon.com/E1M1 listening right now.
That's right. Hello, patrons. And hello, everyone on Twitch, YouTube, and all you Mixcreants.
Yeah, Mixcreants.
That's right. Oh, well, I can't... Not everyone's a Mixcreant. We had someone really cool in the Mixer chat last week.
Mixcreant.
That's right.
Damn right.
Looks dirty once you spell it out.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yikes. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I've had Mixer on at work, just playing in the background, so I've got something to listen to while I'm at work.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that are still playing. Oh crap! I can't think of the name of the
PUBG?
game now. Yeah, no, not PUBG. The other one.
Fortnite?
Apex Legends.
No, the other one.
Fortnite?
The cartoony one that you build. There you go.
Fortnite?
Yeah.
Yep. Couldn't think of it, but it's like everyone's playing that. It's so annoying listening to those people because you can tell the audience that they're shooting for is the younger crowd.
Right. And they're like putting on a show.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
you know, whatever. You've got
I don't
all
blame them,
the followers. Yeah, it's like you're catering to your crowd.
Yep.
I am not your crowd, and it is annoying.
Right. Well, especially since Mixer, I think it's such a cool thing about Mixer. They have that. I started it with PUBG and it works with Fortnite, and I think of other couple of battle royale games.
They
where, like,
stole the best show from the NFL, which is, I'm assuming what you're about to talk about is the best production that the NFL ever did It was the exact same concept as I believe what you're about to talk about. But I'm glad the NFL provided one good thing in this world.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they have that thing where like you can just watch a feed of people when they're in like the last 5 people in a battle royale game, and that's cool. You get to see a lot of streamers. You get to see a lot of near victories and a lot of chicken dinners. I think that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's one that I'm following. There's a woman who's been playing a lot of classic RPGs from like the PS1 era. So right now she's playing Legend of Dragoon.
Nice.
She is looking at playing Grandia, and she's looking at Xenogears.
Nice.
And I've been giving her a lot of tips because she had never played Xenogears before. So I've been giving her a lot of tips that this game will throw you under the bus, beat you down, and then run you over with the bus.
Yep, in a
so
heartbeat.
Just know that going into way. Yeah,
it is not easy. It will not checkpoint you.
But it is still a great game.
Yeah,
despite it wanting to kill you.
It's a real experience. Like it's one of those games that if you like RPGs, you should experience it, even if you don't like it. It's a thing. I like it.
By the way, Boston, I know you're not the hugest football fan, but that NFL version is called the Red Zone. It's the exact same thing.
Right. I have heard of the Red Zone.
Yep, where it's basically just 3 guys sitting around a desk, and basically as teams approach the goal line, it cuts to that game, shows that little section, then switches to the next thing. It's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
And I think, what does Mixer call it, the hype zone?
Something like that, yeah. The chicken zone.
It's a smart thing that they stole it. Like, it's a really good thing that they stole.
And it's one of those, like, programming dark magic sort of things where it's like, I have no idea how you're doing this, but it works and it's super cool.
Do they just have, like, a team of, like, 30 people all watching, like, 20 streams at once and be like, okay, this guy's in the top 5, he's eligible. Wait, no, he died, now this one's in the top 5, now he's eligible.
The only thing I can think of them doing is that they're doing some image recognition, because the game will tell you, like, oh, you're number X out of Y. They have to be doing, like, all right, the image is in this location, and if it says this number out of this number, then this is eligible for that area. Brought to you by the power of the Azure Cloud. Actually, it probably is.
Yeah,
okay.
More likely.
You guys ready to do this thing? Limber, loose?
Sure.
When am I ever A, limber, and B, loose?
Now that you're saying that out loud, I don't want to know.
When are you ever limber, dude? You're dying faster than all of us.
Yeah, I am. I'm on triple speed. Everyone else is on 1x. It just sadly has not affected my productivity. All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Last week we did the latest ranking for We Rogue Like It. That's now available for patrons. Patreon.com/E1M1. The $5 a month tier is always the best value. Thank you so much for all of our patrons for supporting us. It helps pay for hosting. And nothing else. Genuinely nothing else. It helps fund the 3 E1M1 shows to keep the lights on. So thank you very much. And I think that's it. So Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Are we ready for the shortest section of Moon has been playing since he took a week off?
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1, shock, shock, horror, horror. Get the pun here? It's Dead by Daylight. So yeah, I played a bunch of Dead by Daylight. Guess what? I needed comfort food this week.
Yeah.
Comfort gaming this week. So I played a poop ton of Dead by Daylight, and I encouraged friends of the show, Brain Eater and T-Bomb, to play the killer a little bit, just to see how the killer operates, just so that you can... Because to be honest, seeing it from the other side helps make you better at the opposite side. It's a bit like Left 4 Dead 2 is a prime example. If you know playing as like a smoker, where the smoker can be hiding, you know as the survivor where to not run perfectly into his line of sight.
Right.
Like, oh, there's an edge coming up where as soon as we all drop down off that edge, we're screwed. We can't go back up.
Right.
So make sure you
pounced.
get down that hole as quick as you can to make sure you don't get grabbed So it's one of those things like you see how the killer plays, you see the field of view, you see the different skills, you understand how they play, so it makes you a better survivor, and being a good survivor makes you a better killer, and vice versa.
Right.
It turns out I literally introduced a bunch of killers to the game.
Oh,
because Rob has been playing nothing but killer basically this entire week. And it got to the point where when we all, because I think I've explained the blood points before, where you earn it as one character and you can spend it on whoever.
Yeah.
He is now spending his survivor blood points to evolve his killer.
Aha, so he's deep.
Yes, he is going down the rabbit hole really quick.
Yeah.
And he may be a fellow fan of the Legion, which is just one of the most underrated killers in the game. Like, you just don't see them getting used. And it's great.
Yeah.
The knife is so close to my heart.
It is. Especially when you consider his special ability is called Deep Wound. It's kind of appropriate.
Yeah.
So, we played a whole bunch of that. I don't know how, but I didn't play it for a couple of days. I ended up with 3 dailies, and in 3 matches I did 3 dailies, so I'm perfectly happy with that.
Nice.
My favorite thing is my character in the game is David King. He's the intermediate survivor. He should be classified as hard as far as I'm concerned, but whatever. Back to back, I got 2 dailies, which was Escape with David King.
Oh.
He is the guy I have at the level cap, who I just need to play as to get rid of his items, so I can prestige him to the next level.
Right.
So I was like, that's fine. I'm just going to play a whole bunch of David. Then I realized I had 500,000 blood points, and the cap is 1 million.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I've still got 20,000 items I need to get rid of as David, so I'm just going to spend these on other people, and then, when play as David some more to get them up. But honestly, right now, Dead by Daylight is just fun.
Yeah.
I can see my achievement bars going up. I've got like 20 of them, which are all like 98%, 96%, 97%, because unlike a lot of games, Dead by Daylight does a really good job of keeping that percentage tracker spot on with your current progress. So it feels like I'm getting to that point where the grind is coming to an end a little bit.
Right.
And those achievements are going to start slowly unlocking one by one. Like, I think I unlocked like over 4 days. It was like 2 on like Thursday, 1 on Friday, and then 1 on Saturday. It's like, this hasn't happened in a long time, so I know this is getting closer.
Right.
So we just played a whole bunch of Dead by Daylight, had fun. T-Bomb Rocks fell asleep, so that's fun.
Great.
At least this time he didn't snore. This isn't the first time he's done this.
Sure.
One time he was snoring like a freight train while we were in the middle of a party.
That's so good.
So,
we've all done it.
Not to shame T, because it's happened to the best of us.
Yep.
I've done it before myself.
You just get relaxing, while you're queuing up for another round, and it's late, it's warm, stuff happens.
You have a couple of bevs. Next thing you know, you just doze off a little bit. That's fine. And then suddenly you wake up when a knife gets plunged into your face.
Freddy gets you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Dead by Daylight, I played a whole bunch of that. And my second and final game this week, because it's been one of those weeks,
Yep.
It's Astroneer.
Oh, yeah.
100% Astroneer, because I am at the point in that game now where I have to get the credits. Because that game has credits, which is weird.
Yeah.
To get those credits, it's a bit of a task.
Okay.
There is an item on the tech tree that's the very, very last item on the tech tree, basically. It's the RTG, which is a power supply, which is basically the best power supply in the game. To get the thing that you need to unlock the thing to do the thing on the hardest planet in the game, I'm being deliberately vague just in case Nimp decides at some point he does want to play this game.
I have it downloaded, I just haven't had a chance to do anything with it.
Yeah. Plus you're getting the end game now, like, you don't want to spoil it.
It's honestly, as soon as you see, because no, I'm not going to say that.
Right.
But basically, the last planet, you have power requirements that you need to do a certain step in the process. And the last planet is like 30 power per unit, which this thing at the end of the tech tree gives 4.
Oh, wow.
So I may or may not be doing the grindy thing right now of just literally driving around the base planet, collecting dirt, using the soil centrifuge to turn the dirt into items that I need, so I can then turn those items down the tech tree, like 5 or 6 notches down the tech tree, to make this power unit, so I can get 8 of them to go to the hardest planet in the game.
Right.
To do these steps that I need to do, because this is me, and I'm gonna do it hardest to easiest.
Right.
Because I'm stupid, basically.
Well, and plus, if you need a comfort food game, there's nothing better than I have one specific goal, and it takes kind of a mindless thing to get there. So it's perfect to listen to some podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been doing. I've been listening to podcasts. I've been... Oh, that was something I meant to talk about on the pre-show. A professional wrestler who I know you guys... Actually, I don't know about Nimp, but I know Boston's not a professional wrestling fan. It's the best gimmick ever. He doesn't want to wrestle. It's amazing. Go check it out. I will... His name is Orange Cassidy. That's it. Go Google him. You will immediately understand his gimmick in 2 seconds of watching a match with him.
Great.
But, like, I've been listening to podcasts. I've been sitting there mining away, getting the resources I need, exploring planets. Like, it's been exactly what I needed, because literally the music in it is super ambient. So that's fine if I just want to listen to that. If I don't, I pop a headphone in and I listen to a podcast about dumb stuff, like movies or sports or Formula One. There's another thing we didn't talk about.
Oh, man. Moon sent me another tweet about Mission Winnow's favorite energy drink, Rich Energy. So good.
Yeah, there was a lot of good replies to that, too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So good.
I spent about a good, 15-20 minutes reading all the...
Yeah, I did too, and I was just sitting there like, this is so dumb, I love it.
Yep. So, note to self, talk about that next week in the pre-show.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I played a whole bunch of Astroneer, a little bit of phone games. Guess who's still playing Marvel Strike Force? Me. Guess who's slowly tapping away at that stupid Konami game? Me. Although, I think Mackie might have you beat when it comes to the percentage on that game, because he is insane. Like,
yeah, he really took over. One of my favorite authors, Rachel Aaron, she put out another book recently. There's like there's a series that I really liked. I just want to plug it. The first book is called Nice Dragons Finish Last. So obviously I was going to read that because that's a really great title. Those 5 books are incredible. She's writing a spin-off series that takes place like 20 years after that with new characters. Those are even better. So I devoured those 2 books this week at every time I could. So I didn't play too much Pixel Puzzle Collection.
We might need to have an intervention on Mackie's behalf.
Yeah.
He might have a bit of a problem.
Yeah. But the game's
at the rate, I was gonna say, at the rate he's going to be done with it here in about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is scary. Which is very scary.
Yeah. Well, he'll find out what happens at 100%. Which
if it unlocks another 100%, that will be great.
It resets your file.
Who knows? Wink.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, that's unfortunately that's all I've been playing, because it was a comfort gaming kind of week for me.
Yeah. How about you, Nimp?
So mine's not that much longer because I was stupid busy this week. My son and I played Rocket League this week.
Yeah.
The first time I had played it in a long time.
Yeah.
They are currently doing an 80s event. I don't know if it's still going, if they're done with it now.
I think it is.
Excuse me. But you can unlock like all this 80s themed stuff. I've got a good portion of it where my booster smoke is like this weird techno looking DNA strand thing.
Right.
And the music is just fun. They've got a new event, new to me. I don't know if it was for this event only or if it's always been there, called Spike.
That's for this. It's only for this.
Okay. It is an interesting game that has driven me to swearing more than I would like to say, because what happens is you start out, your cars are normal. As soon as someone hits the ball at the start, all your cars develop spikes, everybody on the field.
Oh.
So the next time somebody touches the ball sticks to you.
Oh.
So which is a different mechanic, and it's interesting.
Yeah, there is. I can't remember the name of the mode. It might be Rumble, where basically you get items in the game, and it's like consumable items. Like you hit X, you get a big tornado around you. The spikes are one of those items in Rumble, but they're considered super OP for Rumble because it's like literally you activate them, the ball sticks to you, you drive into the goal.
Oh, okay.
But they've changed it in this event where, and I don't know if it's the same in Rumble, but I know that they changed it so that you can take less hits. So pretty much as soon as anyone hits you when you have the ball, you blow up.
Oh, wow.
That kind of sucks. You don't have boost as soon as you have the ball. You just completely lose your boost, so you're just driving.
That's cool.
You can throw it when you jump up in the air. I think it's the right stick. You can wiggle the right stick, and you can fling the ball in a direction. I could not get that to work for anything.
So this, I mean, it's 80s themed. This kind of has to be inspired by Top Gun, right? Spikes, spiky hair, volleyball on the beach, you know.
It was interesting. And they had the old school arena, which I'd never played on before. I don't know if that was part of this event or not either, but it's basically just goalposts, but instead of them being in the wall, they're actually on the field.
Yeah.
So you could drive behind the goals as opposed to the normal courses. So and it looked all rusted out and stuff like that too. So it looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like an ice hockey rink where the goals sit forward and it's got the loop rounds behind.
Yep. That's cool.
So that was pretty fun. My son and I played quite a bit of that. Like I said, there was a lot of swearing on my end.
Well, you're playing Rocket League, there's always swearing. What do you think of the event currency that you get for that? Because that is a touch of absolute madman genius to me.
Cassette tapes?
Yep.
Great.
Yep. It's like literally cassette tapes have got like Rocket League and like handwritten notes on it of what's on it. It's
so good.
And
so good.
I can't think of what it's called, and I don't know if I can explain it properly, but it basically looks like a setting sun where you've got this yellow ball that slowly, color fade changes into red and all this stuff, and it's got the lines through it. If you think like the old Pepsi
like
logo.
the 80s style where it's like,
So I have those as hubcaps for my car now.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I also have that design for my title card and all that. So they went pretty in depth with it's still a great game. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I've managed to play it. I've almost got the platinum trophy for the game.
Oh, nice.
So all I have to do is it's basically at this point just keep playing to eventually get the last, I think it was like 3 that I needed.
Right. Yeah. Is one of them take like 535 shots by any chance?
No. I already have that one apparently. No, it's like I know one of them is I have to make 20 saves, and the other one is I have to drive like 30 kilometers or something like that. So it's all just, you just keep playing and you'll eventually get them. But I still have the issue where it's like I can't just gauge how the ball's going to react. Every time I think I know how much higher this ball's going to bounce or when it's going to impact, I still miss it. But like the narrowest of margins, and that's when I get so ticked off. It's like, I know I hit that stupid thing.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun game. It's it's nothing against them. I just suck at playing it because I haven't played it in forever.
Right. Yep.
So, the next game that I played was VIII. I'm still doing a lot of exploring with this one. Nothing major's happened yet, but the big news that I have for it is that I bought the PS4 version of the game because it has more content in it. This was the game that I imported from Germany. Because they were the only place that I could find that did not want the PS4 version for $60 still or higher.
Yikes.
And they offered free shipping.
Hey.
Which, rub against Amazon, this thing shipped from Germany in a cardboard sleeve, and the disc was still sitting in properly.
Yes.
So I booted that up. There's still, I didn't know about it with the PS4 version, but the PS4 and the Switch version had issues with DLC. To the point that the free DLC had to get pulled, at least from the Switch version, for a while. Okay. I don't know if they ever put it back up, but it was basically causing game crashes and stuff like that. But I know that the PS4 was having issues, and when I put it in and downloaded all the free DLC, they're not showing up in my game. I get an error. So I'm guessing it's still an issue, because at first I thought maybe it was because I imported it, and it is technically Region 2. But no, looking everything up online, it's still an issue off and on that just hasn't been fixed.
Oh, it's a known shippable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I mean, it's nice to play the game up on the screen. There are definitely, like, the graphics are improved on the PS4 version, not like drastically or anything, but I can see the difference between the Vita version and the PS4 version. And it's nice to have an actual controller to play it in, because I love the Vita, but after a while, having your head looking down the entire time,
right, cramping your hands.
Yeah, exactly. Played more Tokyo Xanadu. Haven't really gotten much further story-wise. It's all been side stuff. So I think I've got my last character, but there's story-wise nothing's really developed just yet.
Right.
And then the last game that I played is Vampyr.
Yes.
And I have beaten it.
Speak to me.
So, last time I think it was last week, I just got done helping the benefactor for the hospital. Last night, it was either last night or Friday night, I just went through and finished the game from there.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Lots of reading of notes. I still don't even have all the notes, but there's so much backstory and lore, and when you find out certain people at the end of the game, it's just a flurry of Google searches, and then you're just trying to figure things out, and I mean, it's an awesome game.
Yeah, it goes super British. Like, it does super deep cut British kind of history. Whereas, like, if I'm Googling who some of these people are, I feel so bad for my American colleagues.
It's not like you got turned into a vampire by Winston Churchill. It's like, I know who that guy is.
No, but I mean, they do name drop a lot of big British names, but I think there was like 2 or 3 of them that I was just like, I have no clue who that is.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, the thing, like you mentioned, like, there's so much lore and stuff in that game. The thing that surprised me the most is how much detail they put into the little letters that you pick up. Like, there is so much stuff hidden in there, where it's just like, you can pretty much find out the entire history of this world and the whole segregation of the vampire society sects and the different types and everything like that. That's all hidden in these little notes. Like, you get an outline, but then it goes deep into it in the little, like, collectible stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the thing too, because by the time I had gotten to the last area of the game, I had already read all the notes, and with the events that go down during that time, a lot of this was already covered in the notes to, like, really in-depth detail, which I thought was kind of cool, because then you're just seeing the perspective from a different side at that point. But then it kind of got back to me where you're sitting here doing this dialogue stuff. I don't know why they didn't just make that one giant cutscene, because I'm going to click on all of these dialogue options.
Right.
So you might as well just turn this into a long Metal Gear Solid cutscene where you're explaining to me who the Lale Lule Lo is and the Patriots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the game. The combat is still kind of crappy.
Let's not mince words here. Come on, the combat sucks.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of, hit and run tactics.
Yeah.
And the biggest friend of mine was the blood mist, where it basically congeals their blood, and then you start getting blood from them.
Oh yeah.
So I would do my 2 big attacks, and then I would freeze a person in place, which would get me more blood, which would also keep this person off my back while I'm dealing with, like, these 3 or 4 other people, and those guys get hard fast.
Yeah. What ultimate did you go for? Well, did you, like, experiment with them all, or did you go with, like, one ult? Because I went with one. Like, I picked one and I went with that one.
To be honest, I completely forgot there were ultimates. Like, I put my skills into it. I think I used it once and then just completely forgot about it. I'm not even sure what skill it was, because I had it down so much with the 3 skills that I was, because I used the blood spear, the congealment. What was the other thing? Oh, and then the blood mist thing, where it basically spears out and, does the AoE attack or whatever. So those were the 3 things that I primarily used, and then I used a stake to stun things, and then I used a saw blade, which that thing, when you get that thing maxed out, at least with the equipment I had, that was like the best equipment for weapons. Where that thing was doing like 300 and some odd damage or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
I have a problem because I play games on very hard difficulties. So of course, I went and did a no slap hardest difficulty run because why not?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that was a game changer for me was discovering the razors, like the barbershop razor blades.
Yeah.
Because when you hit people with that, it doesn't stun them the same. It doesn't do like stamina damage the way the stake does. But hitting them with that gives you blood. So it was one of those things where I was always hitting them with that, getting as much blood as I could, and then just like power, 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 slap, slice, 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 power, 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 power.
Cool.
I had some syringes. It was like a syringe thing that basically did the same thing where you got like 10 blood points back or whatever every time you used it. But I was finding that it was so negligible at the time that I was better off just stunning someone than slurping, so that way I could get the bigger bonus back. That way I could go back and finish fighting the rest of the guys that were there. So, but yeah, it was a really fun game. It's just kind of a pain sometimes, especially when you start running into the bigger monsters that are just walking around in the world, because there are things that are bigger than werewolves.
Yep.
They suck.
Yep.
It was like a Mr. T situation from Resident Evil, not Mr. T himself, where I went walking down these steps, and all of a sudden there's just like this tall, black-looking thing in a trench coat, and it just ran at me. Oh, screw this.
Gotta go.
It's that classic RPG progression as well, because the very first time you see one of those, it's a boss.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 hours later, they're in the streets.
Right.
Yep.
It's like, great.
So I managed to beat the game, no slurping.
Yeah.
Which got me
slurp-free zone.
Yeah, which got me one of the endings. For me, it was a happy ending considering how down the rest of that game was. I don't know what ones, how many endings it has or what one I got, but
I think it has two. It has the slap and no slap.
Oh, okay.
I got the same ending as you did. The castle, when you go to the castle and you have the conversation, and yeah. And there is hope at the end, and then in the cutscene there are two characters.
Yep.
With the biggest tease for a sequel ever. There needs to be.
And that was
Vampyr
something
2.
I was gonna bring up. Is I would enjoy a sequel from this game, especially with how that game led off with the ending that I got. I don't know if the other ending ends in the general same way or not, but I would be really interested. And I would, just because it's a vampire game, I would like to see a leap in time. I mean, I wouldn't, if it's the same timeline, that's fine. But because it's a vampire game, it doesn't have to be modern, but at least
30, 40 years later, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or go crazy and show me what 1,000 years looks like from there. Whatever.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, exactly.
But that cutscene is. I'm trying to think of games that have done that sequel tease better.
Darksiders.
And it's hard. Darksiders is number
Darksiders
one on the list.
Where you're like, yeah, that's awesome. Oh no, it's the end.
Like Darksiders is probably number one on the list. For me, Vampyr is right there at number two.
Yeah,
because
Alan Wake, maybe.
Give me that game right now, please.
Right. Yeah.
And fix the combat.
Yes.
Or just don't have it, because I would have been completely fine if the game didn't have combat in it.
Yeah.
A visual novel Vampyr.
Yeah.
And it didn't even have to be visual novel, but it's like there's so many different things that you're doing that towards the end of the game, combat just became a pain where I was spending more time just running away from stuff because I just wanted to get to the next thing so I could see what was going to happen or what was going on.
Just make it an adventure game.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's all I've been playing.
I played some more Super Mario Maker 2. I moved my Switch down into the living room, so I will now be able to play more Switch stuff. I have it sort of set in my entertainment stand so my kid will stop stealing it while I'm playing it, which has always been a challenge. I did more of the go as far as you can mode that I never remember the name of. I definitely do not want to see another Mario Kart level again in that game because they are all terrible. Basically, you'll start a level and a Koopa Troopa is in a Mario Kart car, and you stomp on them, you hop in the car, and you do a level. They're all terrible. They are all the worst.
My favorite thing about this is how those levels have co-opted the tags.
Yeah.
Because there are very limited tags in the game, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is auto, as in auto runner, as in you load the level and it takes care of itself.
Yep.
Auto is a synonym for car,
right.
So people have just been using the tag auto for every car level that they make.
Yeah, those levels are bad. I still really like Mario Maker 2. I really need to buy a capacitive stylus so that I can make. I have a level idea I'd like to make. Like I'd like to make a vertical Boo house that sort of relies on a lot of those bouncy donut things. I think that as a concept sounds sort of fun. My brother made a couple levels. I played those. I put those on my Twitter account, but not a ton to say about this because it's just.
Is there a ton, or I'm sorry, is there an official Nintendo capacitive stylus? Because I've been hearing a ton of people talking about how they have to go with a third-party stylus.
So,
and I know Giant Bomb brought it up too, because they're all basically buying the same type of stylus that one of them found by accident.
So what happened was, yes, there is. Yes, it was a pre-order item in everywhere except for the U.S.
Yep.
Awesome.
So you can buy the stylus. A lot of people in Europe are selling them for like $25. It's cool. Like it has Mario Maker, it has all the like a bunch of items on the stylus. It's cool. But that's a lot for a capacitive stylus when you can buy one for $5. And like I would be more than willing to spend the money on that cool Mario Maker one if the Switch had a little space to put a stylus in it, like the DS did in the Wii U. It doesn't, so I'm not going to spend $27 on something I will lose immediately. So,
especially considering you have a child.
Yeah, she'll just, next thing you know, it's in her mouth, and then it's just...
We'll just get you one of those ball tethers for the bank pens.
Yeah, exactly.
Stick it to the back of your sweat.
That way she can whip me with it.
Hey, if you did that, you could get one of those ball tethers, buy yourself a Switch Lite, and then now you've got a kickstand for the Switch Lite.
Perfect. There you go. Yeah. So Mario Maker 2 is good. Not a ton to talk about there because it's a second Mario Maker.
Yes.
I did play more Cadence of Hyrule. I have been trying it on the non-rhythm mode. I don't remember what that option is called. That works really well. I think for me it makes the game too easy. But that's because I'm used to Crypta the Necrodancer. So compared to Crypt, Cadence of Hyrule is really easy, and then sort of turn that off. It almost makes it into like a turn-based strategy game, which is really cool. But if anyone is worried about the rhythm part about it, because they're not good at rhythm, and I've seen that from a lot of people on Twitter, you can totally turn it off, and it turns into like a classic roguelike where you move and the enemies move at the same time. And you get all the time you want to plan your attacks and all that. So I didn't really make a ton of progress. I was just sort of exploring how many blocks on the map I could. I think I played for about half an hour. But I really need to get in that. I really need to finish it just so I can put it on my top 10 list this year. Because, that's all but guaranteed. But I just want to finish it. And it's really good, man.
Yeah, so it really is. I need to play that some more.
Yeah. I've been playing a mobile game. Sorry, I started a mobile game called VIII Tyrant.
What is it with you and Void? Why Void?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking when I picked that up. I genuinely don't remember where I found this. Someone randomly on Twitter. But it's this cool 1 versus 1. It's offline. Sort of first-person RPG where basically you and the monster you're fighting against are essentially playing blackjack. So you're tossing down cards that have numbers on them between 1 and 6, and you're trying to get your number as high as you can without busting, and higher than the enemy's number. So like you start off with being able to get up to 12, and the enemy will get anywhere between 9 and 12. So if you toss down 10 and your enemy tosses down 7, then and you both sort of tap out and you say, okay, I'm good, you'll then attack 3 times because your number was 3 higher than your enemy.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's basically it. You have some cards that are like, well, my next set of attacks will do bleed damage, or I can kick the enemy and it'll interrupt their attack and disorient them for a little bit. And you're first person going through dungeons. It's pretty cool. I think I've played maybe 2 hours of it, and it sort of has like a Slay the Spire sort of branching path towards the levels you're playing. They're saying that I can build the town, which I haven't run into really yet.
Of course.
I know, that's my real weak. I have to figure out if I'm going to tap out before that or if I'm just going to go all the way in.
Hashtag predictable Boston plays the town building game.
I didn't even know you could build the town before I picked it up, just to be clear. That's VIII Tyrant. That seems cool, and so far it doesn't really seem annoying about the in-app purchases, and it's free, so that's a plus. But I do block ads at the router level in my house, so it could be riddled with ads and I just won't see them. So
of course.
Yeah. Speaking of the Switch, I finally started a Gato Roboto. This is the 1-bit Metroidvania. So if anyone doesn't know the definition of 1-bit, it's like Minute, it's black and white. And they use sort of grayscale beyond that, but it is the only 2 colors present are black and white. And you are your pilot has crashed on the surface of the planet and he is stuck in his spaceship, so his cat is the one that needs to go explore the dungeon, and very quickly you find a robot suit that perfectly fits a cat, and now it's a Metroidvania game where you're a cat in a robot suit.
Yep.
It's really clever though, because you're pretty frequently juggling being in the suit and then getting out of the suit and exploring really tight spaces and swimming underwater as a cat, and then getting back in your suit and sort of exploring somewhere else, or like unlocking something with a cat and going back and then sort of navigating around the thing you were previously unlocked. So the first upgrade I have is a missile shot, which like blows up some debris in the environment. And unlike Metroid, you don't have a set number of missiles. You just have like an overheat meter, so if you just dump a bunch of missiles, you overheat and you won't be able to shoot them. So far seems great, and it seems self-aware that the very premise is really crazy.
That's cool.
It is Devolver
Digital. Catnip yet?
No, I haven't found that yet. It is Devolver Digital published, so you sort of know the level of quality and kind of the level of weirdness you're going to run into. But so far it seems really great. I don't really have any complaints about it. It seems pretty great, so I'm looking forward to sticking with that. I played a bunch more Zelda Breath of the Wild because I also needed a comfort food game.
Yes, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I finally remembered the armor set that I like early in the game is from the armor shop in Kakariko.
Which one? Is it the hero's armor? Is it the Hylian armor?
The Hylian armor with like the hood and like the red and green and blue. I like that one, so I bought that whole set.
So you definitely bought the pants.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't make the same mistake I did.
Where I had no pants. Yeah. No, I bought the hood, the body armor, and the pants. I finally remembered. Go sell monster parts that don't say rare in them, because you can get those really easily. So I did that. I bought all of that, and I woke up the first great fairy that's right outside Kakariko. So I've upgraded one of my armor pieces from that set, and she reminded me that, hey, if you wear a compatible set that is all upgraded to level 2, it might have an armor bonus on it, like a set bonus. I was like, oh, right, yeah. So I remember why I don't ride the horse in Zelda Breath of the Wild, because I really hate how it controls.
It's not great, but if you're just running down a path to get from A to B,
Yeah.
you can literally put her on the path, hit A couple of times, and walk away, and the horse follows the path.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why every time Moon was like, "Oh, you guys need to use the horse," it's like I used the horse long enough to get Epona, and that was the last time I used a horse. If I wasn't running, flying, or climbing,
yeah,
I wasn't doing it.
I have started the quest to go get the saddle and whatever, like the ancient horse.
Yeah, the
equipment.
ancient saddle and the ancient harness.
Yes. So I've started that. I have found the rumor, and it said, all right, you need to go to this place. It's like where there's a special tree in this woods, and where a horse gathers near a lake. And it's like, okay, cool. I got that early enough. I will find it. I looked it up, and some wiki was like, oh yeah, it's just in this place on the map and this place on the map. And it's like, I've only done 2 towers, so I don't know where those are.
I literally am doing my best to not look anything up for that game. So like when I found that stuff, it was like one of them was very clearly it's something to do with horses. Oh, hold on a minute. Like this place on the map is literally called blank blank horse blank. Like, well, gee, like, I wonder if it's
the lake of the spirit.
Valley. Yeah,
it's like the lake of the spirit horse. It's like that's probably it.
Mm-hmm.
I did the Zora stuff to get into the Zora Kingdom, and that is just
enjoy those lightning arrows.
That is just a slog. I forgot how unbearably long that path is. From like those 4 or 5 Zora people that are like, "Hey, by the way, Sidon's looking for you. Why don't you come on over to?" I was like, "I know. I'm going. I'm going there. Just chill out."
This is why Gaden hates you people.
Right, like, just leave me alone for 2 seconds. I see him over there. I'm going to go see him. And then I forgot that pathway is horribly long to get to the kingdom. And
super windy.
And it's raining. So, like, the number of shortcuts you can take are fairly small. I did take a couple where, like, you jump off this place and sort of glide down past a bunch of enemies. But, that part is still rough. And thankfully, when you get in there, you find a shrine, and then you can fast travel back there, which still really weird. You can't fast travel to a location, but you can fast travel to a shrine, which will work, but I forgot how weird that is. Go ahead.
My least favorite thing about that Zora's path is, so far, I think I've encountered like only some of the elements in the game. Like I've been hit with the ice damage, the fire damage, whatever.
Right.
Of course, the first real big test is, in my opinion, the worst element.
Yep.
Because it ignores the armor.
Yep.
Like,
it makes you drop stuff.
Ignores armor. Yep. It's like, let's just start you out with a kick in the teeth, shall we?
Well,
like, why not fire?
And what's really great is Sidon gives you one of those electrical resistance potions, so me not remembering anything from Breath of the Wild, chug it immediately. And then it lasts for like 5 minutes.
Timer.
Yeah, for 15 minutes later, that's when you run into dudes with, the wizards with the electric, and it's like, oh god, okay. So, made it through that. My very next step is swim up this waterfall, and I'm going to get to that famous sneak around the giant centaur thing and get the
Lionel, yeah.
Yeah, the Lionel. So I don't want to do those dungeons again. I don't like any 4 of those dungeons. I certainly do not like the elephant one.
I liked it.
My problem is I liked it the first time. Going through it another time, I know I'm really not going to enjoy doing it.
Okay.
I think the thing that is frustrating for me is usually in a Zelda game, the dungeons are the high point, where it's like, yes, I get to go do a dungeon, I get to get an item, and I get to do the best stuff, like the curated part of Zelda.
Unless you're playing Ocarina of Time, the Water Temple.
Yes, that is, until they put it on 3DS, that was a miserable experience. And I like how they changed that up with what was the 3DS one where you turn into a painting? A Link Between Worlds?
Between Worlds,
yeah. That was cool because you didn't you didn't need anything to finish a dungeon, really, or like you could do them all out of order because you could buy and rent all the items. The ones in Breath of the Wild are fine, but man, that map sucks. Like, you have a three-dimensional beast you're in that is both very tall and very deep, and you have good puzzles that are in them, but they're like a little bit too complex, where it's like, I need to go to this place to change the angle of the water coming out of the trunk, to then wash myself to this other place to do this thing, to then switch it. And it's just like, okay.
You're doing Witness-style puzzles with the small Zelda map, and it's not working. And then you find out that you can manipulate the terrain with the map in certain dungeons, which really throws you for a loop.
Yeah, God, that took me so long. And I think part of what I would enjoy about those dungeons is if there were no enemies, or really nothing that could kill you in the dungeon. It was just a pure puzzle, and then you fight a boss at the end. I'd be okay with that, but putting on top of it like deadly spikes and enemies that are shooting at you, it all doesn't come together. And that's a bummer, because literally everything else in the game is incredible. Like, I ran across my first dragon. I totally forgot those are in the game. Like, I got a couple more Korok seeds. I'm clearing out shrines and stuff, like all that stuff, and just walking through that world and playing that game is really great. And on the other side, I feel like the Divine Beasts are just such a low point. But there's only 4 of them, so except for that stupid flying one, Jesus. But yeah, I'm still having fun with Breath of the Wild. It's really good, and I am shocked at how little I remember about that game. I feel like I've had just enough time away from it where I remember how to play it, but I don't remember anything about the map. I don't remember like anything having to do with any of the towers. Like, I got into that jungle area to go get that tower, and then I look up and there's nothing to rest on the whole way up, and it's like, okay, I don't remember how to get there. I've marked it on my map. I will come back later.
Yep.
But I did remember next to it there was like a well that had a metal plate on it. So I remembered, I can stasis that, knock it a couple times, it'll fly off, and there's a chest under there. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I remember some of this stuff, but
I was going to ask, have you tried to do any of the crazy like mechanic stuff that we've seen online since the game's come out, or are you playing it just? Okay.
Yeah, I was just
curious if you guys went, because like before I knew that there were any videos, I've tried experimenting with some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's in the game and it worked, and it was always one of those. It's like, well, I wonder if I can do this. I'm like, holy crap, that actually worked.
Right, I'm flying on a rock.
Yeah, and then you watch some of these YouTube videos of people playing this game, and it's like, geez, you can do a lot in this game.
Yeah, it's cool.
So okay.
Yeah. And last but not least, Destiny 2. I did a bunch of stuff this week, actually, because I didn't think that there was going to be anything crazy. Moments of Triumph is in this game. For anyone that doesn't play Destiny, Moments of Triumph is sort of like the celebration that another year of Destiny is coming to a close. Usually it's Moments of Triumph and Solstice of Heroes are kind of the 2 events that happen. Solstice comes out in about 2 weeks. Moments of Triumph is really cool this year because it's a combination of things the game remembers that you've done already and new things you need to do as part of the event. So there are 24 triumphs associated with it. When I first fired it up, I had done 14 already, and the majority of the rest of them are things I need to do now that... It was all like stuff I've been doing throughout the year. It wasn't stuff I grinded for over the past week. But now the other side is, do 50 bounties, complete 10 weekly challenges, like normal stuff you're going to do throughout the week. The 2 ones that I really needed to do were run Crown of Sorrow, the new raid, and then run Scourge of the Past, which is the previous raid, the one that came out with Forsaken. So I ran Scourge of the Past this week with the Sherpa I really liked. I hit him up and I was like, hey, Moments of Triumph, I'm sure everyone's hitting you up. Are you going to run either one of these raids soon? And he hit me up probably a couple hours later. I was like, hey, do you want to do Scourge of the Past today? I was like, hell yeah, I do. I finally have a day off. That'd be great. When do you want to start? And he goes, like, literally right now. It's like, all right, let's move my PS4 up to the office. Let's do this.
Log in, let's go.
Yeah, we did terribly. All 6 of us.
But did you make it is the question.
We did. Way about 2 hours longer than it should have taken us.
It doesn't matter how long it takes to get there, as long as the finish line is reached.
We got the W.
Don't forget to tip your Sherpa.
Yeah, exactly. we all 6 of us were playing terribly, myself included. Like, it just, there's no two ways about it. We were forgetting what the cardinal directions were. Like, the first area, you have a map and you're killing enemies and like taking these charges to different areas. The building with the rabbit on it is north, and I could not remember that for the life of me. Run over run over run. So it was a lot of dumb stuff like that. But we did finish. I didn't really get any cool loot, which is fine. We did beat the final boss, which is the Fallen made a giant robot, which you fight this giant like mech robot, and it's really great.
So they did the Mass Effect 2 ending?
No, it's like it's almost like a put together Jaeger from Pacific Rim. Like it's like one of those bipedal robots where it's made out of scrap and like other enemies. It was really cool. So that was a cool raid. I still have to do Crown of Sorrow sometime in like the next 6 weeks, and that raid is hard. So I'm looking forward to that in a weird way because I like when raids are difficult, but I'm not sure how we're gonna do. I mean, we'll win, but
you're gonna need to improve your game based on what you're talking about, like for the last one.
Yeah, I need to have my A game for that one. Like I can't be coming in like a scrub like I did yesterday. But
well, that's kind of the problem that I have with some of the Destiny ones too. It's great that they're long, but after a while the game just becomes a test of endurance.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we started this thing on a Friday at 5 p.m. It is now 5 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And we cannot beat this last boss because we're all tired.
Well,
but we know if we drop out, at least at the time, we'd have to redo the whole thing again.
Yeah, and the good thing is, since Destiny 1, the raids reset weekly. So, like, you can very much, we've hit a checkpoint, let's go to bed, and we'll all try with the same team. The nice part about a lot of these raids now is they have made each encounter more difficult, but they've made fewer encounters in a raid. So, like, Scourge of the Past has 3 encounters and a Sparrow race. The Sparrow race is surprisingly hard. But
dude, have you played any of the last levels on any of the Halo games that Bungie have ever produced?
Yeah, I mean, they all control terribly. But like the encounters themselves are not super complicated. It's just, you know, when you're learning it for the first time, it's like, all right, we made it a little bit farther. We made it a little bit farther. All right, we've got the mechanics now. We just got to execute them, do as much damage as we can, and then we got it. So same with Crown of Sorrow. There's like it's very much like Vault of Glass. There's one mechanic it teaches you at the beginning, and it sort of evolves that mechanic over the next couple of fights in a really cool way. So I'm looking forward to doing that whenever I have Saturday free, sometime. But lastly, and really quickly, they put in something called the Tribute Hall or Hall of Tributes. I don't remember. This seemed like something that wasn't really going to be that interesting, and it turned out to be something that's really cool and unexpected. Basically, the boss of the very first raid, Leviathan, when you beat him in the raid, he then sort of gets infatuated with you. He's like, you're my favorite Earthling, you're my favorite Guardian, like, you are the strongest person. I want you to be part of my team because you're the coolest, you're the strongest.
And so the Cupid from Arrow?
Sure, that's not a reference I know.
Okay, it's another archer who the Arrow defeats, who idolizes him and then wants to basically be his significant other.
No, this is more like you're the strongest, so I want the strongest. I only want the strongest on my team, I want you on my team. So he builds part on the Leviathan, his ship, that is a dedication to you and all the cool stuff you've done. This led to the Bad Juju quest. Bad Juju from Destiny 1 is back, which is great. It seemed a little bit stronger this time, which is great. But you're basically doing stuff in-game to earn tributes to put in your tribute hall, where it's like, if you've reset your rank in PvP, non-competitive, you get a tribute and you can put it in there, and it's like, hey, you've done some cool stuff in PvP. As you start getting more and more of those, he starts putting more stuff in your tribute hall, and what it eventually turns into is your new home base. You have 3 places where you can get any ammo type from. You have a place where you can get orbs of light from to refill your super. You can access your vault. You can spawn any enemy in the game in there, so you can do DPS testing. Or you can just look at the cool models. And it's this cool place where you can go and access all the stuff you need to, or like refuel all your ammo and your super, and then sort of go out and about, almost like your home base in Warframe, which is pretty cool. Because
the spider caught a fly then.
Yeah, very much, yeah. Like, yeah, he made this really great place where it's like, I want to live here now. He got me. Callous. Yeah. But yeah, it was billed as this sort of a celebration of your accomplishments, and then it kind of turns into this cool home base. So that's a pretty cool thing, and it's nice because it's something that we're going to be working on for weeks and months to come. Like, there's a set of armor that you got from the Menagerie, which just launched. You get more tributes for doing events wearing that set of armor in raids and strikes and Crucible and Gambit and all that stuff. So sort of by playing this stuff over the next couple of weeks and months, you're going to continue to fill up that tribute space. So it was a surprising and unsurprisingly complicated thing to sort of wrap your head around at the beginning. But it's this cool thing that didn't really need to be there, but now that it's there, it's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I have another thing to work towards as I'm just doing stuff throughout the game, which is kind of the best way for that to happen. So Destiny 2 continues to be great. Solstice Heroes comes out in 2 weeks, and I am really worried about the amount of grinding I'm going to have to do based on stuff I have seen in the API and how grindy the one was last time.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
But so the thing is, Moments of Triumph...
You guys don't understand. Hang on.
Yeah, Moments of Triumph usually comes out, and they'll have like 4 objectives. And this year is, if you finish one, you get an emblem that tracks your... So everybody has done something, which is like, finish the Forsaken campaign. If you have Forsaken, you've done that, so you'll at the very least get the emblem. Finish 5, you get a Sparrow. 10, you'll get a ship. Neither of them look that great. 15, you get the t-shirt. I've already ordered mine. It looks super cool this year. But if you finish all 24, 22 of which are in the game right now, you get a seal and a title, and the title is 2019 in Roman numerals. I want that so badly. Because come August 27th, that disappears.
Yep.
I need to get it. Like, I'm the perfect audience for time-limited stupid stuff in Destiny. Except for this season, Bungie, you're insane with the amount of money you want people to spend on Eververse this season. That's bad, revert it. But limited titles? Ooh, I gotta get that. Like, that's very much like the World of Warcraft stuff, where it's like, you only get this title by doing all the seasonal events for a year, and I'm like, I want to do that.
So, do you go to carnivals much, Boston?
No.
Good.
I also don't gamble for a specific reason.
Good.
Yeah, I am very much.
You're the mark. You are 100% the mark. You're the guy with the white cross in chalk on his back.
Yeah,
this is the guy who's going to spend all of his money.
I'm the one who thinks he's keeping it cool, and over there I'm like, I need it. Yeah, I don't. No, that's not. Yeah. But Destiny 2 is still really great. And that's all I've been playing, so let's take a break.
In all fairness, I am jealous about how much Destiny 2 has pretty much kept you playing.
Well, and I think the best thing that Bungie has ever done is get rid of doing these quarterly big DLC pieces, because now what they're doing is every week there's a new thing. And it's not big. Over the last couple of weeks, like, we've had an exotic quest every week, and it rewards you with an exotic weapon at the end. It might take you 2 or 3 hours in that week, but it's something brand new and something for you to do every week while you're doing some of the other stuff. And I think that's the smartest thing they've done to keep people engaged, instead of, I finished a 2-hour story, now what do I do?
How many of the exotics were hand cannons?
Only one of them this time. Wait.
Shocker.
Yeah, Lumina was a hand cannon. The last one that came out was a Bad Juju's a pulse rifle, and Truth came out, and that's a rocket launcher. And man, people are super salty about Truth coming back. It's really great.
Well, so my biggest issue was, I was playing at the time where they were doing, and I don't know if they still are, but all the heavy recalculating and for all the weapons.
Right. Yep.
Changing all the ratios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so you never knew what you were coming into after an update of, okay, what sucks now and what's good now. And next week they bungled it all again. It's like, just leave everything alone. So it was fine at the start.
What's great and bad about that now is they've stopped doing that. And they'll typically, as soon as a season starts, so once every 3 months, they will do a big balancing patch then. And unless something is totally broken, they'll just kind of leave it to settle in for 3 months, and then they'll change it at 3 months. And those have been getting smaller and smaller. Nothing like Weapons 2.0, and they did that in Destiny, where it's like, shotguns can go in primary and snipers can go in secondary. Like, all that switching around has settled down.
We really didn't think this through.
Yeah, they have. I feel there are a couple of outliers, but largely Destiny 2's meta in weapon balancing is in a really solid spot.
Oh, I feel dirty. Boston just said the word meta and meant it intentionally.
I try not to,
because
meta doesn't really mean much, but I think when you have that many different weapon types in Destiny, the meta matters a lot, because you could have a type of weapon that's really dominant over the others, and I feel like we have 1 or 2 weapon types that are really weak, but everything else feels fairly stable.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I was one of those people that was really salty with the transition from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2.
It was rough.
And then to run into everything that they were balancing and counterbalancing. Yep. It's like, all right, I'm done. But I will give Bungie props for keeping with it this long.
Yep.
And the people that are still playing it still have, at least from what I've been able to see, a positive opinion on the game.
It's in a great spot.
It's just people like me who got burnt out. It's like,
and that's the best part
about...
And
I love the lore, too. That was the crap thing, was all the lore that they had in Destiny 1. Loved that stuff. I had the app on my phone. I was reading the Grimoire cards and stuff like that. It was all sweet stuff. They could have just made a book just on that, and I would have bought all of them.
They did. It's the Grimoire collection.
I know.
Volume 1. Volume 2 is coming out
wish list. Yeah, I've got a wish list somewhere.
But to make you feel better, you probably quit before Triumphs came in the game, but there's a whole section of the Triumphs menu that's just lore. And so many of that stuff is like each one you unlock is just pages and pages of lore. And that's the great part about New Light coming out, is if you've been burned before and you've been burned 2 or 3 times with Destiny, like most of us have, Moon raised his hand there. New Light comes out, it's going to be free. It contains almost everything from Destiny 2 Year 1 and 2 for free. Spend 15 minutes with that first mission, you can then go play with your friends. That's the best. Or you just want Shadowkeep. That's a standalone expansion. You spend I think it's $30. You spend that. That's all you want to play. Go crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the best part, especially to bring back people like you guys, where it's like, just download it. It's free. I will be downloading it because of cross-save, so now I can play it on the Xbox with people that want to do that. So now I can answer the summons of someone saying like, "Hey, do you want to play Destiny 2?" I'm like, "Yep, let me just turn on the Xbox."
Is Cryptic Dragon still a thing? Because I really loved that scout rifle.
Bad news is scout rifles are really bad right now.
Screw this game, Boston.
But good news is pulse rifles work pretty much at the same range as scout rifles. They're just stronger. Cryptic Dragon.
That was the one that I liked because they had an ACOG scope on it, but they had it backwards.
Oh.
So, but I mean, it was really like that was the first legendary scout rifle I had gotten in Destiny 1, and it was really good.
Wow.
And then they upgraded it in Destiny 2, where you got, I think it was called like Solar Flare or something like that, where if you killed somebody with a critical shot, they would blow up and cause
Firefly. Yeah. Yep. Firefly is cool and needs a buff right now. It still does a lot of damage, especially with. There's a mod called Firefly something, I don't remember what, but it doubles the explosion size of Firefly, and it is it's really good.
But I just that gun was just point and click, and it really, I just loved it. That was the gun that I threw everything into, and every time an expansion would come out, that would be the first weapon that I would max out. Because I loved that gun.
I'm trying to figure out what in Destiny 2 would be like that. That was a cool gun. That had a cool model.
I know everyone kept pushing me towards multi-tool, but I didn't like it just because it was an exotic.
Oh, everybody used multi-tool.
I liked multi-tool.
I liked what some of the stuff had on it, but I didn't want to use it for my exotic slot, or my one exotic weapon, because I had other weapons that I liked using. So,
I used it because it made you run faster, and it was pretty strong. It's so bad in Destiny 2 right now, unfortunately. It needs a damage buff. Poor Mida. It also pairs with a Mida mini tool in Destiny 2. The two synergize together.
I think I literally stopped playing Destiny 2 right when those came out, like right when those came into Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And we were trying to play PvP, and
it was a mess.
Every single person on the other team had both.
Yep.
And we got wrecked every single round.
That was a bad time early Destiny 2. You don't see Mida anymore. If someone kills you with Mida in PvP, you're like, what are you doing?
The last raid that I remember playing in Destiny 2 was the puzzle one, where
King's
a guy
Fall?
where the guy went in the track and you had everybody else that was on a dais that had to shoot certain symbols at a time so the person in the track could keep progressing without dying.
Oh, in Destiny 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, Leviathan. Yeah.
That was the last.
The Gauntlet.
I don't even know if that was what was in the game or if that was DLC or what, but that was the last raid I did.
That was the base raid. I still haven't done that. I need to do that. But
that was fun, but that was another one where it took us hours to do it, and there was so much swearing, and we all had to go to work the next day, and we all showed up to work pissed, and we were sitting there devising plans and stuff over the radio while we were working.
I think Bungie learned a lot from Leviathan. People were saying, like, look, I like the difficulty of individual encounters. There's just, like, twice too many in here. So, yeah. Okay. You guys ready to do the second segment?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk U.S. release for the week of July 15th, 2019. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, comes out on the Switch on the 19th. And that's it.
I'm gonna have to buy another Pro controller.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this game is received, because everything I've seen from it looks like it's another Ultimate Alliance, and I think you modernize that a little bit, and I think that seems like a no-brainer on the Switch, but I'm curious to see if it is executed as well.
I'll say Ultimate Alliance 2 was really good. The first one was rough, because my son and I played that one last year, and we finished Ultimate Alliance 2 this year. And Ultimate Alliance had a lot of quality of life stuff thrown in there, which made the game a lot easier to play. Because basically in the first one, if you were not playing something that could regenerate health, you were SOL.
Yeah, very
until
much.
Until you got, certain equipment that then made you overpowered, and you were basically just walking through the game.
Right.
But like for the second game, I walked around as Cable just shooting things, and my son walked around playing as Deadpool the entire time because he loves Deadpool.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
But yeah, we're
Perfect
looking
combo.
forward to this. Yeah.
Let's talk about news stories. First one up is that the NES games on Switch are going to get a rewind feature this month on the 17th when the next batch of NES games gets released. Basically, you hold ZL and ZR, and a bunch of snapshots will pop up, and you can kind of scroll backwards and forwards through the last probably minute or two, it looks like, from the video. And then sort of pick right up from before you sent Mario down that bottomless pit accidentally.
So they've updated the emulator firmware built into the Switch to the latest version.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and it supports something that the PC emulator supported in 1997.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's cool. I think that's really great I think the important thing with classic games like this is making sure that the amount of friction for new players is at its lowest, and I think someone just jumping down a pit accidentally and having at the end of a level and having to start the whole thing back over is usually like, I'm done. Never mind. But being able to just rewind 15 seconds and then try it again, I think that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Next news story, the non-story of the week. This is mostly to clear up a misconception. Gears 5 will not feature smoking in it. I know that sounds really weird, but the original news story was that the Truth Initiative, if you're not in the U.S., Truth Initiative has been running for like 20-something years and saying, like, this is the generation that ends smoking. You'll see how that's been going. They reached out to the owner of the E-League. They feature Gears esports tournaments a lot, to push the issue of smoking not appearing in Gears 5, which the original news story was like, it's successful, they won, there's no smoking in Gears 5, until Rod Ferguson, who's basically the head of Gears at this point, said, hey, that's not right. Gears has never had smoking in it because my dad died of a heart attack at 38 when I was 4 because he was a smoker. So we don't put smoking in Gears games because kids and teens play them.
Yep.
So that's a non-news story, but also very neat to hear that there is a very specific reason behind this. Smoking is not going to appear in this game or any of these games.
Honestly, the last major game that I can remember having smoking in it was, Metal Gear?
Yep, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah,
Metal Gear
Vanquish,
5 had
just
the
because,
vape pen.
Yeah,
that's right,
but
yeah.
Vanquish, I mean, you had the thing where you could get the robots after you flicked your cigarette to target it, but
yeah,
I don't know of any... Granted, I'm not on top of all the newer video games, but I don't know of any newer games that have smoking in it so much anymore that aren't like HD releases or re-releases of older games. Yeah.
Doesn't Barrett chomp on a big fat cigar in Final Fantasy VII?
Not that I remember.
You're thinking of Sid. Sid has a guitar.
Yeah.
A guitar cigar. I don't know if Sid has a guitar. I cannot speculate about the HD remake.
Let me tell you, he chose a neat G chord.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of cool that he came out and set the record straight. That's like, no, this is an internal policy, and it's not going to happen. So quit crying about censorship, man babies.
Which is funny because, for those who don't know, Rod Ferguson worked with Epic, and he did Gears 1 through 3, I think.
I think so.
Then he left Epic to join somewhere else, and then rejoined the Coalition after Microsoft bought the rights to Gears to become the head of Gears again.
Yeah, I think he was the head during 4, I believe.
He might have been, I'm not sure.
Or like at the end of that, or maybe. Yeah. Next news story here, Nintendo announces the Switch Lite. We've been waiting for this. We've been talking about this rumor for year and a half, maybe, quite a while,
Yep.
about the new hardware revision. So it is the Switch Lite coming out September 20th, 2019 for $200. That's $100 off the regular Switch. It is a Switch that does not have removable Joy-Cons and doesn't dock. It is a little bit smaller than the current Switch and is 31% lighter. And since it doesn't have the removable Joy-Cons, it will support almost all Switch games. There's a handful of games that can only be played in what they call tabletop mode, like Mario Party, whatever Mario Party they put out there. Like you have to disconnect the Joy-Cons to do that. So that won't be supported. They basically made a Vita.
Yeah.
I am. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised about the number of people that are poo-pooing this online, when it seems like this is kind of the obvious choice for Nintendo to make.
It makes perfect sense. If you want a Nintendo console to play on your TV and you have bought the Switch, guess what? You have a Nintendo console to play on your TV.
And they'll still be selling regular Switches. Mm-hmm. Those aren't going away.
Well, and it makes sense, too, in that Nintendo has talked about in the past how they're just kind of slowing down on the 3DS, not sales-wise, but just them as a company are slowing. Yeah. So it would make sense that the next portable would be the other portable console that they have.
Well, and Nintendo has been saying in investor calls, saying, look, we will stop heavily supporting the 3DS when we can put multiple Switches in one home. So a Switch for $200 that is more, it seems a little bit more rugged. So it's more kid-focused. It's lighter. It comes in a bunch of fun colors. Like, this seems like the one that's a little bit more focused towards, give this to your kid. They're only going to want to play in handheld mode anyway, so go crazy. This is your one.
It's about, because our 3DS is still $199, or are they generally at $150 now?
I think they're $199, yeah.
Okay, so it's generally the same price point. It would be nice if they said, "Oh yeah, and you can play your 3DS games on here without having to use the eShop." But
right,
whatever.
No, Nintendo 2DS XLs are $150.
Okay,
so yeah, it's.
But you're getting something that's more powerful than a 3DS,
and I think you're getting the thing that your kids are going to want anyway. Like, if you get them a 3DS, they go, it doesn't play Fortnite. Like, this isn't the one I wanted, but you get them and $200 is not going to break the bank for Christmas time, and Fortnite is free. So here's your new console.
Yeah.
I think that's smart.
Let's not forget to address the most important issue in regards to the Switch Lite, and top of the barrel. Number one issue with the Switch Lite.
Okay.
It has a D-pad on it. Thank you.
Yes, that's true.
Not the stupid buttons.
Yeah, that is a really good point. And I know someone is already saying, like, well, you can buy a third party. It's like, I know, but it doesn't have the gyroscope. It doesn't have rumble. Like, I get it. Having a true D-pad in there, I think one of my concerns is, I hope the reliability of Joy-Cons over the Switch's lifespan has been less than Nintendo perfect. Usually the hardware comes out and it's perfect and it's rugged. You can drive a tank over it and the thing is still going to play, Tetris 99. I feel like the Joy-Con reliability has been a little bit low. I'm hoping that with all of that built in and all of it on the same board, I'm going to assume internally, that reliability stuff goes away.
Yeah. It's a Switch Lite. If you don't want one, don't buy one. Dead simple. Literally, when my wife and I were talking about these rumors about the potential of a different Switch, her response was, well, if it's a bit more portable and even if it's a little bit more powerful, I'd like one, because she plays the Switch exclusively in handheld mode.
Right.
I play the Switch exclusively in docked mode.
Aha.
So, guess what the big difference between us is?
Well, and one of my problems, too, with the Switch playing in handheld mode that I've always complained about is it's just a little too heavy. Not a lot. It's not like carrying around a cinder block, but it's just like a little bit too heavy. And them bringing down the weight on it and making it a little bit smaller, I think that's going to help for a lot of people.
It's a big deal. I'm not going to lie. I may have faced myself twice with the Switch.
Yeah. I mean, that's just going to happen. It happened with the Vita. It's going to happen with the Switch. It happened with the Switch Lite.
My biggest worry with it, too, is that they're still talking about data transfers from one Switch to another.
Yeah. That's my main concern.
It still seems like they're kind of shrugging at this pie-in-the-sky idea of, oh, yeah, we're looking into it.
Literally the same thing the 3DS does. Like, you point the two and they transfer. The part that's been frustrating to me about this transfer is, like, you can sign into a Nintendo account on multiple devices and download the games that you own. That works today. What they should be saying is, hey, if you want to transfer your save data from one to the other, don't forget that Nintendo Online has save syncing with the cloud. Sync that stuff to the cloud, re-download it on your other one, and you're good to go. But every time someone asks them about this, like, yeah, we're still working on, we're working on a transfer. It's like, I use the system you already have to just bring it over.
Yeah.
Here is the bit that I don't understand, and don't get me wrong, cloud saves are much more complicated than what I'm about to go through, but not that much more complicated. Because way back when, on the N64, I had a memory pack that I put my save games in.
Right.
I pulled it out, I went to my friend's house, I plugged it in, and then all my custom wrestlers for WWE Attitude 1997 or whatever it was were right there.
Right.
What's the difference between that memory card being in my fingers and in the cloud?
Well, and additionally, the memory card that's in your Switch under the kickstand. Like, can we use that to kind of back up all that stuff to that and then kind of it seems like a weird thing, especially when the Xbox One does it pretty elegantly, where it's like, oh, you want to move it? I found another one in the house. Just go make a sandwich. I'll be done in a little bit. It's... Yeah. And especially since the 3DS does it. Point the two of them at them, their IR needs to be looking at each other, and it transfers. Slowly, but it does it.
The Xbox does, I mean, say what you want about Sony, but in my opinion, the Xbox does save games, period, flawlessly. Well, I can jump over, you shut up with your problems, you're weird.
No, I want to be able to control this stuff. I want to be able to manually control the stuff that I'm sending to and downloading from the cloud. That's what I really want.
Oh, that's completely fine. Like, I understand if you don't want certain saves to go to the cloud. I don't know why you don't want that.
Right.
Because when you're gaming the system, you don't want it to overwrite the one that you have on the cloud.
Or it's like I don't care that this game is going to get backed up. Like, I don't need to worry about this game.
But that's the thing that I love is the save files are so small, it doesn't take a dent in any form of traffic on my internet. I can jump from my Xbox to my wife's to the one in the living room,
to your
load
PC.
Load the same game up. Like when we were playing Cuphead for Game Club, I played Cuphead on my PC just to see how the save transfer thing went.
I've done that with Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, I downloaded the game on my PC. I hit start. A green bar popped up for about 10 seconds, if that.
It says like syncing data.
Yeah, and it's like, there you go, play away. It's like, how? Number one. Number two.
How did this dark magic happen? Yeah. Next news story, last one here. Psychonauts 2 has been delayed until 2020. They just need a little bit more time to get that thing working. And they have officially announced, no surprise, that it will be published by Microsoft. So that is official. Shocking. Still coming out, PC, PS4, and Xbox One. All right, let's move on to questions here. Jimbo Jangles sends us an email. Says, hey, TVGP, Jimbo Jangles here. My questions to the crew this week are as follows. He's got a whole bunch, so we'll go one by one. What has been your favorite game on Game Pass so far?
Oh, boy.
I don't have Game Pass right now, so I don't know.
Yeah. Outer Wilds? Just because it was a surprise. I want to say Void Bastards because of the quality. That was also a surprise, too. Don't make me choose. Those two. Forza Horizon 4 is also good on there.
Sea of Thieves?
Yeah. Oh, that game keeps getting bigger and bigger and better and better, and it's
it's
still available on Game Pass.
I mean, the biggest surprise to me for Game Pass is, as long as Microsoft release 2 games a year, Game Pass pays for itself.
Right.
Because
especially like first-party games, like Gears 5 will be on there day and date. It's like, okay, cool. That's why I got it was for Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, this year's Forza, this year's Gears, the Outer Worlds, whatever they put, like as long as they put out two games a year, that pays for my Game Pass essentially for that year.
Yep.
Because I'm not spending $60 on Gears, and I'm not spending $60 on Forza, and I'm not spending $60 on Crackdown.
And that doesn't even count the PC stuff now, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm gonna have to go basically the same as you. Void Bastards was an incredible thing, yo. I love The Last Station. It was a game that I would not have been exposed to, period, without Game Pass. It was just a case of, I'm going to load this up and see how it is, and just play it for a little bit.
You know, the PC version of Game Pass, I don't know if you've fired it up, but it now has a random button, where it's just like, show me a game.
That's genius.
And I think that's really smart, because it's like stuff like The Station, or Outer Wilds, or any of these. There are a bunch of smaller games that are on Game Pass, where it's sort of like the Orwell game that Monkey Senior recommended. I would have never known that had he not seen that on Game Pass and said, all right, cool, that seems like a cool experience, I'll just download and play it. Like, having a randomized button like that is pretty cool.
I realized I've got a winner for me. Descenders.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think you had seen, other than Giant Bomb's very early coverage.
I literally didn't know a thing about it. My wife loaded it up. It was like, this looks like a roguelike BMX game. I downloaded it and then promptly eclipsed her time by about 20 or 30 times longer than she played it.
Yeah.
And also props to the Descenders devs for being the people to call out G2A.
Yes. Go to hell, G2A. Do you think down the road Sony will launch something similar? Yeah, because they're halfway there with PS Now being able to download games as part of the service, but PS Now selection is like 5 years too old, and the price is about twice as much as it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's the inverted games with gold PlayStation Plus problem. Because I'll give Sony credit where it's due. Their PlayStation Plus offerings are generally way higher than Microsoft standards with games with gold.
And Microsoft has 4, and Sony now usually has 2, but like the 2 that come out are sort of like, I've never heard of this, and I want to try it, or something like Sonic Mania, where it's like, I've been meaning to play this, and now it's free, so I will happily play it now.
And usually Microsoft's selection is worse, but then Microsoft have Game Pass, and that is about
it's infinitely better
than Play Now or whatever the Sony version's called. So
yeah, I would really love for Sony to do something like that. I think my main concern about that, I think a couple of weeks ago I would have said it's probably a guarantee, but I think with Sony coming out at least this early in the console hype cycle and saying they're going to worry about, they're going to focus on AAA, the hardcore stuff, which of course they always say, and they're going to worry a little bit less about indies, which of course they're going to say is marketing. That makes me a little bit more doubtful that they would be working on a system like Game Pass.
Yeah.
So, they should. I don't know if they're going to. He said, or do you think being at the top is good enough? I think the longer that these two platforms are on the market, the slimmer the delta of sales between them get. I think 1 month Microsoft will have a good month, next month Sony will have one, and it isn't like, you know, Xbox One has sold 2 million units and Sony has sold 6 million. It's nothing like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we're not counting it by millions anymore.
We're almost at the point right now that I feel it's almost not even worth owning more than one console, just because there aren't a whole lot of exclusives anymore. Where the reason I own a PlayStation is just because of all the JRPGs.
Right.
Pretty much anything outside of that, though, I could get on the Xbox or the PlayStation. There's only a handful of games here and there every year where it's like, okay, this is only on the Xbox or this is only on the PlayStation.
That's stuff like Spider-Man. You can take like Spider-Man is a must-own, a must-play on PS4. Days Gone is a good game that got a bad rap, but maybe that's not a must-play. You know, like you sort of Gears 5 is a must-play on Xbox One, but you know, Outer Wilds is really great, but not everyone's gonna want to check that out. So, yeah, I don't know. And I mean, to be honest, we're a little over a year from the next set of consoles, maybe a year and 2 or 3 months. So, you know, at this point, I don't think either platform owner is going to shake things up very significantly. No, unless it's Project X Cloud.
Honestly, in general, it's the same thing that happens every console generation, which is by the end of the generation, the consoles reach parity, both usually in features, quality notwithstanding, and usually by sales. Because everyone, pretty much anybody who's a video game player will tell you that not this generation, but last generation was the 360's generation.
Yes.
By the end of that generation, the consoles were in parity sales-wise.
Yeah.
Like, they were
PS3
literally
caught up.
They sold the same number of units by the end, and guess what? The PlayStation 3 had the same features by the end that the Xbox 360 did. It had the party chat, it had, you know, the trophies, it had all of the stuff that the 360 kind of innovated. And now we'll see the exact same thing. Like, Microsoft, the Xbox now has achievement rarity in it, which it didn't have when this generation launched, but the PlayStation did.
Right.
It's like, you get to the end where PSN might still be dog poop, but Microsoft might have the better side of that thing. But then Sony, like, in my opinion, Sony has the better exclusives. As rare as it is, like, you only get 1 or 2 a year these days, like Nimp was saying.
Right.
I rate Spider-Man, God of War, Last of Us higher than I rate Sea of Thieves, Crackdown, and things like that. Forza Horizon 4, yeah.
Right.
But saying that, Sea of Thieves is still getting played to this day. I would love to hop in and play some Sea of Thieves.
Right.
I don't want
like
to go
Destiny,
back and play God of War.
You know, Rainbow Six Siege style, they've stuck with it and they've really turned that ship around.
Well, and to be fair, they just released another update for Spider-Man, which gave out, I think it was 2 new costumes again.
Yeah, from the new movie. Yeah, I love that. I think that's cool, where it's like, hey man, this new movie came out, you can play those suits in the game. I was like, that's cool.
I think nowadays it's just kind of breaking down to what kind of games do you want to play, because Microsoft seems to have the racers, the shooters, and PlayStation seems, in my mind, to have the more story-driven
open world games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which maybe next year that'll switch.
Games.
Or yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, that's, like I said, the reason I bought a PS4 is for all the weird Japanese stuff that comes out, where it's like, this is stupid, but it's fun. But Microsoft would never look at anything like that.
If anyone wants to play Yakuza 0 recently, by the way, it's been on sale for $10. So go buy that.
Honestly, I think Microsoft would love to have some of that stuff.
100%.
I think the biggest problem is there is Japan. I love you. You're a fantastic country in so many ways. I'm pretty sure they still have a slightly backwards attitude towards quote-unquote American companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the Xbox platform has never gotten inroads in Japan, no matter what Microsoft tries to do, for probably 5 million reasons. But, you know, I think when you look at a studio like the ones who make Yakuza, the juice isn't worth the squeeze there to bring it to Xbox One.
I think it is. Because
I think it is too, but I think they're looking at the Japanese market primarily and an ever-growing Western market that I think when you see Square Enix bringing Nier Automata to Xbox One, I think that wakes up some other Japanese companies saying like, oh, okay, I guess there is a market for Japanese games, RPGs, weird stuff to start widening that opening.
I'm hoping like Nier Automata is a great example. Monster Hunter World, for me,
yes, Capcom's best-selling game in their history.
Yes, and they've released it on everything, and guess what? It sold like hotcakes on absolutely everything.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, we're seeing that with the Final Fantasy games. You know, I think any other year Square would have come out with those Final Fantasy VII HD remasters on the PS4, and that was it. But PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, I think that's a pretty clear indication from them that all of these platforms are important to us, at the very least in aggregate, for us to bring this stuff to all the platforms. So, T-Bomb Rocks in Discord says, I was speaking to a friend and told him how pumped I was for Mario Ultimate Alliance 3. After I realized my mistake, had me thinking, why has Mario never been featured in an action RPG? I think at this point you can fit Mario and his crew into any game genre.
Well, let me tell you about Super Mario Galaxy, the best action RPG of all time. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, until until this year, I would have said because Nintendo are too stingy with their IPs.
Right.
But now you've got Cadence, and now you've got Mario Cross Rabbids. Like these are Nintendo dipping their toes into the possibilities if they loosen the leash a little bit, like just maybe a couple of notches off, so you don't have to like literally control every minute detail of these IPs. And from what I understand, Mario Cross Rabbids sold fantastically well.
Yep. Oh, and don't forget, whatever that Ubisoft space flying put a chip on your controller game had Star Fox in it too on the Switch version.
Yep.
Skylanders and Spacelanders. I don't remember what that game was.
There is only
I think it was Starlink.
Yes,
Starlink. Yes, apparently it was a great game. Battle for Atlas. There you go. Yep.
I have that for my son too, and he loves that thing.
Yeah, apparently it was a good game.
Yeah. There's only one good Star Fox game, by the way, and that's Lilac Wars.
Oh, that was not the one I was gonna expect. All right, I thought you were gonna be like the original one. I was gonna be like, hell yeah, that was a great game.
Yeah.
Nope.
And paths diverge.
Lilac Wars / Star Fox 64. It was called Lilac Wars in the UK for some reason. I don't know why. Dude,
I don't
Lilac
remember.
Wars is a roguelike run-based game.
Yeah, what a weird game. Yeah. Yeah, I think it has been interesting to see ever since they became BFFs with Ubisoft and Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle came out, and everyone was like, this is a dumb idea. Oops, it's actually a really great XCOM game with Mario and Rabbids in it.
And Cadence is the same. Cadence is like, this
I think
works.
that's the next step, where like those Cellar Door games, I think their name is? No. Cellar Door is Rogue Legacy. Whatever developers are behind Necrodance, so they were like, hey, can we, for the Switch version, can we put Link in the game? And Nintendo's like, I have an idea for you. And I think for Nintendo to provide that idea is
it's a game changer.
Yeah, like it's a huge leap for this 120-year-old company that is, like you said, historically very overprotective about their IPs.
So, here is my question.
Sure.
Mario, action RPG, whatever type of game you want to make, SRPG, JRPG, whatever, who develops it for you? Who's your ideal developer for a Mario RPG? Be that action, strategy, whatever.
Sure. I think that's interesting because we've had a traditional RPG with Mario. That was Super Mario RPG on the Super NES. That was developed by Square Enix, and that, like Chrono Trigger, that was like a dream team of developers on that one. And then we have Mario plus Rabbids for the SRPG.
Minish Cap is kind of an action, like Zelda game.
Yeah.
And that's Capcom, which is shocking.
That is Capcom.
So I was actually just thinking of having Capcom do it and then get this weird Devil May Cry Mario RPG game.
I was almost thinking of like a Mario Diablo game. But I don't know who would develop.
Well, you got the perfect class as well for that, because if you choose like the Mario Crusader version, he can just spin in circles with his fireballs.
That's right. Who would I want to do that? I feel like picking Blizzard would be the wrong and obvious choice.
How about the guys who did Torchlight?
That's a great choice. They make great games. Well, no, they're closed, actually.
How about My Dream?
Yeah.
Nipponichi, Disgaea, Cross, Mario.
That'd be great.
Lahal with Mario in the same world. is about as opposite sides of the fence as you could get.
Instead of hopping into items and doing item world, you're hopping into paintings from Mario 64.
I don't know how much Nintendo would like Mario running around with an overlord.
with Etna specifically.
Etna is the problem, yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo would be like, look, a lot of the other characters are fine. Mid-boss, he's great. Flan, cool. Etna maybe can sit on the bench for this one.
That would be the one time I would drop my foot and cry censorship.
Yeah. Yes. She decided to go on a separate adventure with the Prinnies.
But imagine the interactions you would get between Prinnies and Toads.
Yeah.
I was thinking Prinnies and Koopas, where you just have Etna just throwing a bunch of those all over the place.
Ah, that'd be great. That'd be a great game. I would want to see that game. T-Bomb Rocks also asks, after thinking about the details of the next Watch Dogs game, has me thinking, you recruit any NPC and level them up separately. If they die, that's it. You must start over with a new recruit. Would you consider this a roguelike game?
Roguelite, yes.
Yeah. Maybe? It's interesting because from the trailers they've been showing, it appears that the world stays persistent, so obviously you're not starting the game back over when Handgun Granny passes away. But it will be interesting if there's a limit to that, where it's like, I killed 500 people in modern-day London, and the game's over because that's all the NPCs I could recruit.
I want to say, wouldn't that be part of the rogue type genre where, you don't start completely over world-wise,
right?
But
it
game-wise, you're starting back from scratch.
Yeah, it depends. For some roguelites will do world starting over, some will do... Like, we're playing Void Bastards right now on We Roguelike It, and that very much is, your prisoner dies, another one gets rehydrated, you start from where you ended up.
Yeah, your character resets, but your equipment doesn't.
And the world doesn't. Yeah.
So, really quick on Watch Dogs Legion, screw hit record, don't do spec work. That's all I have to say about that.
I forgot to put it in the news stories this week. Yes, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, please stop. Don't get in hit record. Don't do spec work in general, and they are not going to pay you for the stuff that gets in the game.
And even if they do, it's not going to be anywhere near the amount that you deserve.
Right.
Don't work for exposure. Don't do spec work.
Yep. If anyone's interested,
please.
We won't get into it here, but look up what spec work is and why it's a really bad deal. Listen to the artists that have done spec work and have gotten screwed. But yes, go to hell hit record. Yeah, I guess this is probably the first Watch Dogs that has roguelike elements in it. I might go that far, but we'll have to see when it comes out, because obviously I'm a fan of the series. So,
are we going to add this onto the list?
I don't. I'll see when I pick it up, but maybe, I don't know. It seems like a much. I think this is gonna be harder for We Roguelike It when bigger and bigger games start coming out that are basically roguelikes. Like Void Bastards is kind of a big game that's a roguelike. It's not just quote unquote indie games anymore. So it'll be really interesting.
Honestly, kind of the way I view the Watch Dogs thing is I view them as lives. Not literal lives, because you are losing a life.
But like Mario lives.
Video game lives, yeah.
Yeah. Angel Eye in Discord says, I find I'll play a lot of games for 30 minutes to an hour and set them aside without being hooked. But when I return, I realize had I just played a little longer, I would have struggled to put them down. Have you had this happen before? And how far away from that hook do you usually find yourself?
Well, usually I go in the basement with the killer.
I feel like I know how much time I have to play, and I feel like I can see that hook coming from a little bit a ways away. I'm like, I have to save this now and sort of tap out of here because I don't have 3 hours to sit down to play this right now. And like my half hour is up, and that's as much as I can play right now.
Well, I brought it up with Yakuza last week or the week before, where I had saved at chapter 5 because it wasn't hooking me, let it sit for a couple months, and then restarted it, and then I just proceeded to beat the game because I got the...
You're like, oh, yeah, it's starting to get good. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, usually it's either a mechanics thing or it's a story thing. So, Yakuza is a great example. You get to a certain moment, and all of a sudden you're in. 100% you're in. And the only reason you turn it off is because you have to go to bed, because otherwise you're not going to make it to work the next day.
Right.
Or mechanically, it's just something that clicks immediately. Which Astroneer is a prime example of that for me. Like, I love Minecraft, I love Elite, I love all these like survival / collection / resource management games. So then all of a sudden I load up Astroneer and it's like, oh no, this is 100% for me. That hook is like within the first 2 seconds, it's in, and I'm done.
You can see how far the rabbit hole goes down immediately, and you're like, oh no.
It's like as soon as you mentioned building a town with Boston.
Right,
like,
and I'm just like, all right, bring it on in. Let's do this.
Well, that's like, I can't play Elite Dangerous because I know as soon as I turn it on,
that's 10 hours down the drain.
Yeah, that's all my, this is what I played this week is going to be.
Right. That, your day upon day is like, I'm getting back in the cockpit.
Yeah, and then there's other games that I don't... Like, I want to play them, but I don't... Like, I'm not having fun with them. It's usually the biggest issue why I put a game down, where it seemed interesting, I started playing it, and then for whatever reason, either nothing's happening story-wise, or I hate, like Moon was saying, a mechanic in the game, and then I just don't play it for a while because I don't want to deal with it.
It's the Final Fantasy 13 problem, where it's like, it's really good at the 40-hour mark, and it's like, yeah, but like, how much
grown-ass man.
Yeah, like how much of a hump do you want to get over to get to the good stuff if the game isn't immediately great, especially with all of us having massive backlogs, sort of excluding Game Pass. You know, like our backlogs are big enough without that. So how much do you put up with, as a separate question, but you know, how much do you put up with a game to wait for it to get good when maybe you put a couple hours into it and it isn't?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's all of our questions this week. Thank you so much, everyone, for writing in. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. All the places to find and follow us are on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. The $5 a month, not per week, a month tier is the best value. That's you get all the cool stuff. If you want to pay anything above and beyond that, that's really great, and I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. All of us really appreciate it. Game Club, Tokyo 42, we have a week left on that. And that we'll be rolling the randomizer for the next one on that one. And I think that's it, I believe. Yeah. So we'll see you all next week.
I'm very disappointed in my mixed screens today. Nobody showed up.
It's okay. It happens.
Also, bye-bye. I forgot to say that.
Yeah, that too.
I was waiting for Moon, so bye.
Yeah. Nimp, hit me with those titles.
Alright. First title I have is Shock Shock Horror Horror. Introduced a bunch of killers. Escaped with David King. Note to self. Nice Dragons Finish Last.
It's a great book.
Mario Kart levels all suck.
Oh god, they do.
Need to finish for top 10. Why Void? Predictable Boston. Cat in a robot suit. You definitely bought the pants. Lake of the Spear Horse. Don't forget to tip your Sherpa. I really want you on my team. Do you go to carnivals? And choose a mean G chord.
Jimbo Jungles in chat. Yo, sell monster parts.
Yo, sell monster parts. That's good too. Monster parts. And yeah. Okay. Moon.
Known shippable. Go as far as you can. Synonym with car. Hashtag predictable. I went with just tip your Sherpa. The spider caught a fly. And you're the mark.
I have the shortest segment. I introduced a bunch of killers, a fellow fan of the Legion, it's a known shippable, shock, horror, don't forget to tip your Sherpas or tip your Sherpa, and yo, sell monster parts. I feel like I introduced a bunch of killers is a good one.
Yeah, it's very me.
Either that or shock, horror.
Honestly, tip your Sherpa takes it for me.
I tip your Sherpa is really... Do you like that or don't forget to tip your Sherpa?
I prefer just tip your Sherpa.
Okay.
Have you used that before?
I don't believe so.
I think you've done one with at least Sherpa, but I'm not positive. It just sounds familiar.
Sherpa card. No, we have not. I hope the Hannah's listening to this right now. for a project
like
she's
I said,
working on.
I remember there being a Sherpa one forever ago, but I didn't remember what it was.
Yeah. And I know the Hannah is yelling right now, like, that's me! So, 2 thumbs up. Okay, I will circle tip your Sherpa. Let me know when you guys are ready. I'm
ready. Where the hell is the search bar gone on the website, Boston?
Yeah, great question. I don't know. I went looking for it recently, and it's gone. So, thanks WordPress updates.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 612 for July 15th, 2019. Tip your Sherpa.
No matter the game.
It's a tip jar at the top of the mountain and at the bottom of the mountain.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.